The other day I was away from home. I was down south in England at a meeting with work, and at lunchtime there was all sorts of goodies that I could eat. There was sandwiches, there were cakes, there were biscuits, there was, you name it, they had it. It was an assortment of wonder if you're a carbohydrate eater. Now that put me into a bit of a predicament because I'm not a carbohydrate eater. I don't normally eat very many carbs at all, which if you've listened to other podcasts you'd be aware of. So what did I decide to do? Hi, this is Pete from See Your Toes again. This is podcast number 14, and this is all about my blowout day, otherwise known as my cheat day, and I hope you enjoy it. Here's the thing, and this is important. Now, I thought, well, this is hopefully going to be a short podcast, but this is, I thought, something worth talking about, something worth mentioning, because if you decide that you're going to get your health sorted, and I suggest the way you do that is to get rid of a majority of the sugars in your diet, and by sugars I mean not only just sugar out of your cup of tea and coffee, but also sugary drinks, energy drinks. I mean bread, pasta, spaghetti, potatoes, all of these things that have high, what we call highly soluble carbohydrates that will convert into sugar in your stomach or your small intestine pretty darn quickly. That gives you a blood sugar spike, and that helps make you fatter. So by reducing all of those out of your diet, then you have a much better chance of not only losing weight, but getting a hell of a lot healthier in the process. That's the basis behind what I've been talking about with all these podcasts. So then I come along and I have a day where I am confronted with all of this food, and I don't have my own lunch because I'd stayed the night at a hotel the night before. So it's not as if I came prepared. And this is the important thing. If you're in the situation that you've decided to go on this low-carb, high-fat diet, it does not mean that you don't ever get to eat yummy, sweet, sugary foods again. All it means is that you have to be aware when it happens that you're doing it, and then straight afterwards, the next day, you get back to square one. So in this particular instance, I ate like a pig. I started off with one chocolate biscuit. I thought, okay, this was at morning tea time, and I had a chocolate biscuit, and I tell you what, it hit my mouth, it hit my taste buds, and my mouth practically orgasmed. I was in another world, and I savoured it. I let it slowly sort of dissolve in my mouth, and then I finally chewed it and swallowed it, and it was so bloody good I went and got another one. Now, this is the first chocolate biscuit I have had for probably over a year. I did have some chocolates at Christmas time. I bought myself a box of chocolates because I knew that no one else was going to buy me a box of chocolates because they all think I'm so bloody healthy. And over the next 2 weeks after Christmas, I ate half of that box of chocolates, sort of one or two a day, and then finally gave the rest away to my housemates. So this chocolate biscuit was amazing. And so then when no one was looking, I grabbed a second chocolate biscuit, and then about 10 minutes later, I grabbed a third chocolate biscuit. And then an hour or two went by, and then I came out for lunch. I grabbed myself a fourth chocolate biscuit. So that's me chocolate biscuit campaign. They were just amazing, and I can see why people get hooked on the bloody things, because as soon as I had eaten that first chocolate biscuit, my day was over. As far as being low carb today, that particular day, it was over. So at lunchtime, I went out there and the big spread was on. They had sandwiches cut up with all sorts of goodies inside them, like shrimp and ham and cheese and all sorts of bacon and tomato, all sorts of stuff. I probably had half a dozen sandwiches. Then I moved on. There was a carrot cake slice. I had one of those. Then I noticed there was a mud cake slice, so I had one of those. And then there was a caramel slice, and I had one of those. I had planned on getting back to more chocolate biscuits, but when I came out at afternoon tea, I was a little bit disappointed to see that somebody had cleared all the tables up. So my blood sugar levels would have gone skyrocketing. I'm pretty positive that I don't have an insulin problem because I hardly ever eat sugar normally. So my blood sugar levels would have gone, pretty skyrocketing for the next few hours after all of that. And let's face it, that's more than everyone else at this meeting was eating. They were all eating a few sandwiches and stuff and bits and pieces, but generally doing what they think is being healthy and using self-control, which was something that obviously went right out the door with me. So then that night, certainly during the course of that day, I had to make sure I didn't fall asleep. It wasn't the most invigorating meeting from my perspective, just because I was there more just because I was part of that group, not because of anything that I needed to really contribute to. So staying awake when that blood sugar rush got out of my bloodstream and I started going into a blood sugar deficit was a little bit difficult. And then I had a 4-hour drive home, which was a very lengthy drive home. By that stage, my body was kind of saying, I've had enough. My energy levels were pretty bloody low, and I was quite pleased when I got home at about 10 p.m. And then the following day, I went back to the usual. Now, incidentally, I did a really good workout so that was Wednesday. So I did a really good workout on Thursday night, lifted heavy on the squats. That would have got rid of a bit of that glycogen in my muscles. Now, that's the other thing to bear in mind. When you have a day like I just had then, which we call a cheat day, and I don't suggest that you don't have them. I suggest that every now and again, when you are feeling, I'll get back to where I was in a minute, when you're feeling like, man, I'm just starting to really hang out for sugary stuff, and this will happen early on in your switch over. You'll quite often get that feeling of, God, I really need to have something sweet. This is starting to get really annoying. The best thing you can do, it's a bit like a weekend, the best thing you can do is just do it. Just have 24 hours or even just 12 hours where you eat whatever you want. In the olden days, I've been doing low carb, high fat for about 12 years. And certainly when I started, it was always a philosophy that come Saturday, I was going to have a carb up day. I'd start the morning with a custard flan, which was just a custard pie with fruit and a sugary glaze on the top. At lunchtime, we'd have baguettes, which are bread. And then at tea time, we'd either have a curry or fish and chips, which were obviously both full of carbs as well. So that was every Saturday pretty much. And then by Sunday, we got back to usual. And what I found was that after about Tuesday the following week, because your weight will go up, because when your muscles when your body has all of that sugar, your body makes the most of it. Your insulin pumps all of that sugar into your muscles in the form of glycogen, and your muscles hold on to it. Your liver holds on to some of that glycogen as well. And so you don't necessarily put much weight on in regard to fat, but you'll certainly fill up your muscles again with all this glycogen, which is a form of sugar. And then over the next few days, that glycogen will get worn back out of your muscles if you don't eat any more carbohydrate. So by about 2 days later, generally, you find that you get back to square one, and you know when you're getting back to square one because it's good to not be out on the road anywhere. You will pee and pee and pee. I used to go, if I had that carb up day on a Saturday, normally on about Tuesday, I'd be pissing for about 4 or 5 hours. I'd be pissing every 20 minutes. And you'll literally piss out between 1 and 2 kilograms or 2 litres of water, of pee. And that's when all that glycogen gets used up in your muscles. Then the glycogen stores water with it. And so when the glycogen gets used up, all the water that's stored with it gets used up as well. And that gets released and comes out your urine. So where was I? So that's a good point. Where was I? So it doesn't hurt. I advocate that you do it. Anytime you have a time when you're really gagging for something sweet, just give yourself a break. have the big sweet thing. Now, it could be because you're planning on going out with the mates on Saturday night and you're going to have lots of beers and you probably have a curry and everything else. Do it. Knock your socks off. Don't be the guy that says, oh, I don't really want to eat this. It doesn't go with my diet. Just eat whatever you want, drink whatever you want, knowing that tomorrow you're probably going to feel hungover and feel like shit, but you've done it, and then you can get back to square one. I have a colleague who had a craving for jam-filled donuts, I think he said it was. And so I said, well, just pick a day, make sure you buy them, eat them until you feel sick, and then that'll get it out of your system. And sure enough, he did. And it did. So don't feel bad. Know that it's part of life, and you eat like mad, then you stop eating and you wait for the recovery. It'll take about 2 days to get it out of your system, and then quite often you'll find that if you've been plateauing with your weight, if you haven't been losing fat on the scales, but you've been exercising well, you've been looking after your diet, you've been making sure everything's right, but you've sort of been plateauing, then a good blowout on carbs can be what you need, because you'll find you'll go up in weight. Literally after Wednesday, I weighed myself Thursday and I was a kilo heavier, and on Friday morning I was another kilo heavier, and that's because of all the water that my body was storing up. And then today I was half a kilo back down, and then tomorrow I'll probably be another half a kilo back down, and it'll get to a stage within a few days that I'll be back to square one, and then you'll often find that you'll start losing weight again. Your weight, as in body fat, will start dropping off again. You've given your body that bit of a kickstart, bit of a changeover, and it'll respond favorably. So the moral of the story is, and it looks like this is going to be quite a short podcast, the moral of the story is, if you're hanging out for something sweet, go for it, do it, but make sure it is a genuine day off, and make sure that you don't start sneaking carbs and sneaking sweets and sneaking fizzy orange juice and energies and all energy drinks and stuff. Don't start sneaking them in regularly. You either have a blowout day once a week, or you just stick to the proper stick to your diet. You don't do something in between, because that's when the wheels will really fall off. But do it. And if you're thinking about switching over to my form of, which isn't just my form, millions of people worldwide do it. This low carb, high fat has been proven by millions of people to be so much healthier than the standard American and UK diets that people like the World Health Organization tell you that you should be eating. So it is a very healthy diet, but because we're in a position where our whole world rotates around all these processed carbohydrates, it can be very difficult to use self-control, and that's what I'm saying. Every now and again, screw the self-control, knock your socks off, but get back onto the horse the following day and get back going. All right, I hope you got something out of that, and have a good time, be safe, and if you want to subscribe, please do so. And if you want to follow me, I'm also on social media, Facebook and Instagram under See Your Toes Again, and X as Keto Pete 2023. All right, see ya. Bye-bye.